The Season 4.5 update for Marvel Rivals has adjusted some of the existing team-ups, added some new ones in, and also removed some team-ups. And just like every half season, we're going to go over which ones are the best ones for the upcoming half season. The Lunar Force team-up. This one's going to go straight in F tier just because it always has been in F tier. And the only reason it's a semi-viable team-up in the first place is just because Cloak and Dagger are involved. Cloak and Dagger is a really solid support in this game, one of the easier ones to use. So just overall, this team-up is going to get used a lot because Moon Knight got a bit more popular and also Blades now got buffed. So in general, this team-up sounds good in theory, but actually it's not now because Daredevil can now see invisible enemies. So overall, this is just really not a good team-up, and it's one of the ones I really hope they adjust. But like I said, just based off the heroes that are inside it, it could be used very often, but I just don't think it's a very useful team up in general. Next up, we've got Chilling Assault, and again, for the heroes that are inside it, all the heroes are pretty strong, to be honest now. Luna is always pretty decent, even though she's not the best support right now, but she's still a good support. And then we've got Hawkeye, who's a great solo carry hero if you know how to use him well. And Iron Fist got his buff to now be more of a tank buster, but still, he's a great dive hero in general, especially if you're going to pair him with Daredevil now. I think it's a really good combo to dive with. But overall, the team up itself is actually really good, right? Hawkeye can shoot through walls and Iron Fist can heal up his team, and that is always going to help you. Is it going to be game breaking? Not really. It's just going to be a solid team up. Next up, we've got the Duality Dance, and this is a really good team up actually, especially now that Adam Warlock is a bit more of a solid support in this game. Being able to use his secondary fire and primary fire to recharge his healing is always going to help out a ton, but just in general, this is going to make it that Luna is great against dive heroes and just make her a lot more survivable, which she's already is anyway. Next up, we've got the Arcane Order, and this is going in absolutely S tier, right? Because even though it got nerfed in terms of the magic aspect of this team up, it's still a really solid team up for magic. Magic's a really solid hero in terms of a dive hero right now. Also, she can brawl too, and obviously that reminds you a bit of Daredevil, right? So again, another really good combo there if you want to do that. Scarlet Witch is just really strong right now, and also Doctor Strange is one of the best tanks in the game. So overall, when it combines all these heroes together in a really good team comp. Next up, we've got the Beastial hunt between Punisher and Daredevil. Now, this is absolutely a B tier team up, and the reason for that is because it's really not that strong. It does include the new hero, which is going to make it a popular team up in general, and Punisher in and of itself is actually a really solid DPS hero, especially for Season 4.5. But the team up itself is essentially a flashbang for a couple of seconds, and it does deal a little bit of damage. But other than that, that is all it does, and it's good that you can team this up with other dive heroes, and I think that's the only way you kind of need to use this. Otherwise, it almost provides no other value to you. So in general, it's very, very niche in terms of the scenarios you want to use it in, and the amount of damage it does is very minimal. So again, like I said, it is B tier. It does have its uses, but that is kind of the only time you want to use it if you're trying to blind an enemy for a dive hero to jump in. Then we've got the new Deep Wraith team up as well, which this one is absolutely S tier and probably completely broken, if I'm being honest with you. This is probably the best team up in the game right now. And that is because not only is Namor and Hela both really, really good DPS heroes by themselves, combining this team up together where Namor can have more than one squid and it only requires you to finish enemies to get those, I actually think this is a really solid team up. Then he also has the kind of reduced healing effect as well, and on top of that he does a little bit extra damage, and on top of that he can combo this with his ultimate as well. I just think overall that all combined together into one package just makes this a ridiculously broken team up and makes Hela and Namor almost a always picked combo when it comes to having two ranged duelists on your team. So this one is by far and away probably the best team up in the game right now. Then we have the Planet X Pals team up, and although it does have some value in this game to provide a damage reduction to both Jeff and Rocket, and slightly more towards Jeff now since he's got a bit more critical hit damage and he dies a little bit faster now, then the Planet X Pals team up is okay. Next up, we've got the Fastball Special, and the Fastball Special is going in B tier. The reason for that is because even though Wolverine does benefit a lot from this team up, and it gives them an extra feral leap essentially. It requires a lot of coordination with your teammates, right? And that's going to depend on whether you are duo queued or trio queued, or if you're relying on randoms to help you out use this. And then it also depends on their rank and if they actually want to help you out in the first place or not just throw you off the map. So there's a lot of things to this. I can't put it any higher because you can't just activate it and use it yourself, right? So it's going to go in B tier, even though it does have some value. Then we have the Fantastic Four team up, which is going to go in A tier. I actually think it's a pretty solid team up because it includes quite a lot of heroes. So that's the first thing. You can literally build a full team comp around this team up if you really wanted to, and then everyone kind of benefits with extra overshields. It's not the strongest team up in the game and it's not completely game changing, but it's definitely a team up that you can use and get some solid value out of it if you use any of these heroes. And most of these heroes are pretty strong now. Human Torch did get a slight nerf overall, but I still think he's not a bad DPS. And then Mr. Fantastic is definitely a really good choice for season 4.5. I've made a whole video on why I think he is actually, and the thing is obviously one of the better tanks in the game as well. Then we're moving on into the Captain America and Winter Soldier team up. Now, I don't really have much to say about this team up. I kind of want to skip over it really quickly because this is the worst team up in the game, right? There's literally no value to this whatsoever. Literally none, right? So this is the lowest of low, worst team up in the game. Moving on now, we've got the Mental Projection team up, and now that Psylocke's ultimate is really strong, by the way, probably one of the best ultimates in the game, and I mean that, it literally destroys through support ults like it's nothing, then this team up is actually really solid now. Emma's still pretty solid, Mag is probably the best tank in the game, and then Psylocke is just got a buff. So overall this team up is really good. It's great at helping you deal a little bit extra damage, throwing the enemy off. It provides a lot of value, and I think it's definitely an S tier team up. Next up, we've got the Primal Flame team up, which has now been reduced down to A tier, and it was an S tier team up in my opinion. It provided Wolverine loads of extra damage, but the team up itself did get nerfed a while back, and then also Phoenix now also got nerfed too. So I feel like we'll be seeing a little bit less of Phoenix overall, but just in general, this team up is not nearly as powerful as it was before. It's still a decent team up to give Wolverine extra damage, so it's something you can definitely get value from. That's why I don't want to put it any lower. And it's pretty easy to use and activate as well, so that's why again I don't want to put it in B tier. But like I said, it's not the strongest team ups in the game where it's going to change the game anymore. And then that brings me on to the next team up, which is Divine Armory. Now this is the one between Angela and Thor, and I actually think this is a really good team up, especially just by combining these two heroes together, right? And that is because when you're using Thor and you use the kind of spear throw, you can combine that with Angela's ultimate or her secondary attack when she slams into the ground. I think that works so well together as a combo that it is a really S tier team up, right? And especially now that Angela got a slight buff to her brawling capabilities, brawling with Angela with Thor actually will work extremely well now. So that's why I think this is an S tier team up. Next up, we've got the Operation Microchip team up, which is going to go in B tier. Now, Punisher is really strong. I'm not going to deny that. But this team up is okay because Black Widow does get a slight buff to her overall damage output with this. It's not completely game changing, it's not completely broken, but it does have its value. If you need to put out extra poke damage downrange as Black Widow and try and take out some flyers or any dive heroes at a distance or whatever it may be, and you can land your shots, then this is going to help out Black Widow just a little bit extra, right? And it does have value because literally just gives you extra firepower. So in general, it's a decent team up. It's just really not game changing. After that, we have the Jeff Nato. Now, if you know how to use this correctly and you can team it up together with a Storm, and having a Storm on your team is pretty solid, and Jeff is still okay, even though he'd got a slight nerf to his survivability, then this is one of the best team ups in the game. It's really hard to counter Jeff Nato if people are using it correctly, and you can only really counter it once people get to higher ranks and know how to actually counter it by actually killing the heroes inside the team up. But again, that's for another video. But in general, Jeff Nato, if you're in lower ranks and even in higher ranks still, it is a really strong team up that is really hard to counter, and it combines two ultimates together, so it is pretty strong. Next up, we've got the team up with Spider-Man and Human Torch, which is the ever-burning bond, and I think this is absolutely an S-tier team up still. Now, Human Torch did get a slight nerf, but he's still a decent DPS hero even with the nerf. Is he going to output nearly as much damage? I don't think so. They kind of nerfed a lot of his animation cancels and things like that. But in terms of this team up being for Spider-Man, I still think it's a really solid team up, allowing Spider-Man to combo in a lot. Now, both of these duelist heroes did get nerfed quite a bit, which is the only annoying thing, because otherwise this team up would have been really strong. But I still think it's a very valuable team up to have if you are running Spider-Man with the Human Torch. So overall, it does provide really good value, the team up in and of itself. It's just that the two heroes constantly keep getting nerfed, which is a bit annoying. Then we're moving on to the Stark Protocol team up. Now, this team up I think is almost a must now for Ultron. They kind of nerfed his healing overshield ability, which I think is really annoying because he's not a really strong support by himself, and obviously people are running him in the triple support composition. But regardless of that, I don't think they should have nerfed him in terms of his healing output, because some people still run a 2-2-2. Regardless though, I do think this overall team up is going to help out on Ultron a ton, getting some of that healing capabilities back. But also Squirrel Girl gets the addition of her kind of lock-on Acorn, which I think definitely helps her kit in general as well. And just in general, a very underutilized hero in terms of Squirrel Girl right now. So overall, I think it's a decent team up. It provides good value for every single hero involved. So that's why it's going to be an A tier. Then we have the Symbiote team up, which is the Symbiote shenanigans between Hela and Venom and also Jeff, right? So when it comes to Hela here, she's actually got two really strong team ups, and she still actually slightly benefits from the deep wraith. So having Hela on your team with a Venom and maybe a Namor is actually almost a perfect team comp. So you do want to kind of have this team up, and it's a really strong one because it actually includes a Vanguard, a DPS, and a support, but you don't really get a lot of team ups like that in this game. So as you can see, it's definitely going to be really powerful. Is it absolutely game changing? I don't think so, but it definitely helps you win a couple of team fights here and there if you have it available to you. Then we have the Vibrant Vitality team up, which is the one with the Loki, Mantis, and Groot team up. Now, this team up overall for the Loki lamps as well as Groot's walls helps out so much, and I think Mantis is probably one of the best supports in the game right now, even though she's not got the best healing output. And I don't think healing output is going to be the best thing for season 4.5. I think it's going to be based on which team kills the other team the quickest, and Mantis is definitely the support that's going to help you do that, because she outputs so much damage by herself. And if you want to see how much damage she actually outputs, we made a whole video going over the supports and their fastest TTKs. But not only that, Loki and his lamps are still relatively strong. Overall, is he the strongest support in the game? No, but you can comp him well with a lot of other supports still, and he's still got a really good ultimate. And Groot is a decent tank. I don't think he's the best tank for season 4.5, but having his walls are pretty strong, and it's always going to work really well in a bunker playstyle. So I still think this is an S tier team up overall. Next up, we've got the First Steps team up, and this one is going to go in B tier. Again, it's very similar to the Fastball, where it requires you to rely very heavily on your teammates to position you well, especially if you're playing as the Thing, because he's the one that's going to get picked up by the Human Torch. Now, it can be useful in very certain scenarios, and again, very similar to the Fastball, where you can be moved to the objective super quick, you can get away from the objective super quick, you can relocate a lot faster with the Thing, and I think that's what makes it very valuable. But again, it relies on someone else doing that for you, so it depends on whether or not you trust the other player or not, and that's why I'm going to put it in B tier. Next up, we do have the Rocket Network team up. Now, this team up overall now is actually going to be really strong, and the reason why I say that is because Rocket's ultimate got buffed. Rocket's redeploy beacon is really decent, and you need to have it in your team because it's the only way to get a free respawn now. And Rocket himself is not the strongest support in the game. I actually feel like his healing output is just nowhere near as good as it kind of was before and where it kind of should be. I feel like it's actually a lot weaker now in season 4.5. I don't know if that's just me playing or the hit reg's gone on his healing bubbles or something. I don't really know, but in general, Rocket just doesn't really feel that good. But Star-Lord feels absolutely great, by the way, and him having an ability to teleport in and out of fights is going to be very useful, and I actually think it's going to be a really strong counter to heroes like Daredevil as well. So overall, this team up is really strong strong. And let's not forget, Penny is one of the best defensive tanks in the entire game, and having the team up and the buff to her ultimate, and overall Penny Parker is actually just really strong right now. This is actually a very, very solid team up. This is very close to S tier in my opinion. It's just that Rocket himself is really not that strong at the moment. And then last but not least, we have the Gamma Charge and the new Gamma Charge team up, right? This Gamma Charge team up only includes Hulk and BP, and that is it. No one else. There's no other heroes in this team up now, and it is a bit unfortunate because when it comes to Black Panther, he actually gets a good, decent benefit from this. It's not the best team up in the game. It keeps him alive just a little bit longer when he's trying to complete his combos. And if you're playing with a Hulk and you get an extra bubble, then it is pretty solid. You can get a couple of bubbles in depending on how long the fights are staggered. But the only issue with this is that you cannot activate it yourself, and that's my major issue with this team up. Not being able to activate it manually for Black Panther is going to be an issue, because you know best when you're about to die, when you're not. And if there was a button that allowed you to trigger the Gamma Charge, I feel like it would be maybe an A tier, but because that is not available to you, then I do think Gamma Charge is B tier. That is the full tier list. If you enjoyed this video and you agree, then don't forget to subscribe and like the video. But if you don't agree, then leave it in the comments below why you don't agree with this list. Obviously it is an early list, so this can change and reshuffle as the season progresses. But thank you very much for watching.